Hello everyone, this is Meredith here, originally from Chicago, but now settled in California. I'm a 57-year-old woman with vitals 36 DD 34-38. A typical Midwestern homemaker. I live with my 34-year-old unmarried son in Los Angeles. This is my story of the second chapter of my life. A gift given to me by my son in California. Let's begin. My son, Ethan, moved to California when he was 31. He left his job and life in Chicago out of fear of missing out after his friends moved to the West Coast and settled there. I've always loved my son deeply and was incredibly proud of him. But his departure created a void in our lives. My husband passed away the following year. I was left alone in Chicago for 6 months until Ethan got my visa approved and brought me to California. During those 6 months of solitude, Ethan was incredibly sweet. He gave me plenty of time over calls and video chats. It felt like a long-distance relationship to me. Thrilled to see my son again, I packed my life into a suitcase and moved to California. At the airport, Ethan was overjoyed to see me and gave me a tight hug. He lived in a studio apartment, which reminded me of the small one-room apartments we had in the older neighborhoods of Chicago. But I was happy with that too, even after leaving my spacious house. It's been almost a year now. I've blended in well with social groups during the summer and made a couple of friends at the gym. Ethan would go to work in the morning, come back in the evening, and help me with household chores and cooking. He took care of me, took me shopping, and showed me around on weekend trips. The one thing that changed after coming to California was the relationship between us. He hugged me more often, and the physical touch between us increased. When we took selfies, his hand would rest on my waist. He'd hug me while snapping a picture. He'd give me small pecks on the cheek before leaving for work and when he returned. What every woman desires from a partner, I was getting from my son. We shopped together. He insisted I embrace the local style and wear shorter dresses, tank tops, or skirts. But he didn't force me when I hesitated. After some persistence, I started wearing tight leggings with tees or tops. Eventually, our bond grew stronger. We began sharing more. But ever since I came to California, I don't know what changed. I used to feel my long-dormant desires stirring. I'd feel aroused at times. Maybe it was the gym, or maybe it was the change in environment, but I felt a newfound energy. At the gym, I wore leggings, long tees, and a sports bra since my bust was large. My friends wore shorts that hugged their curves and sports bras. The gym culture here was diverse, with people from all over the world. My friend Carmen, a 54-year-old Latina, was quite open. She was outspoken and would talk to me about her boyfriends, relationships, and even her intimate experiences. She was a bit of a flirt and often glanced at men's crotches at the gym, even trying to strike up conversations with some. Her openness had an effect on me too. I found myself glancing occasionally, but the only sight that made my heart race was my son's. He'd wear shorts and no shirt at home, and I couldn't help but notice how handsome he was, and how well endowed. One Sunday morning, Ethan slept in, and I was up early. He usually slept with a sheet, but that day it had slipped off, revealing his morning arousal. I knew he relieved himself in the shower, but I let it go, understanding he had his needs. I wanted to see him settled, but every time I tried to set him up, it fell through. I asked my sister, a tarot card reader, to check his prospects. What she said stunned me. She told me Ethan's cards revealed a strong sexual energy. He was deprived of an outlet and managing on his own. She said he'd find a woman, a mature woman, who would match his desires and take him to new heights of pleasure. That's why things kept falling apart. This woman was already in his life, but neither of them realized it yet. As I read her message, the only thing that came to mind was Ethan's hardness. I fell asleep but was awakened by a dream of intimacy. My back was to Ethan when I felt him press against me. We shared a bed, so our bodies had touched before. But this time, his arousal stirred something in me. I was wet. I moved away, trying to sleep, but couldn't. So I shifted back, letting my body brush against his. Ethan was deep asleep but began moving against me. I let him while I touched myself. We moved together for 10 minutes, both finding release. I noticed his shorts were damp. The next morning, I woke up to find Ethan had left for work. I brushed my teeth, staring at myself in the mirror. I saw his shorts in the laundry basket, the stain and his scent still on them. I picked them up, inhaled, and felt a rush of desire. Am I the woman my sister spoke of? The thought alone made me wet. It led to thoughts of Ethan, his hardness, his touch. My hand moved to my clit, and I began touching myself, using his shorts as a trigger. I noticed Ethan's old phone on the shelf. I knew he watched adult content, but my curiosity got the better of me. I entered his passcode and found a video of a mother-son scene. Watching it, imagining Ethan, I came hard. Afterward, I stood naked in front of the mirror, admiring my 36DD breasts, toned waist, and firm buttocks from the gym. I felt confident. I remembered my sister's message. Am I the woman in Ethan's life? Does he desire me? The thought made me blush, and I decided to let things unfold naturally. That evening, I wore a satin nightgown I'd bought earlier. It clung to my body, showing my curves and cleavage. When Ethan came home, he was surprised. Ethan, when did you get that? Me. I went shopping with Carmen. Do you like it? Ethan. Yeah, it looks great on you. He smirked, and I noticed him glancing at me throughout the evening. I sat carelessly, letting the gown slip slightly, revealing more of my breasts. I saw his arousal through his shorts and felt a thrill. I called him over, making him rest his head on my lap. My bare leg brushed against him, and I leaned down to kiss his cheek, letting my breasts graze his chest. I saw his hardness grow and felt a surge of pride. He rushed to the bathroom, forgetting to lock the door. I peeked in and saw him touching himself. His size surprised me, and I felt a rush of desire. I removed my bra, letting my nipples show through the nightgown. That night, we slept facing each other. I felt his arousal and began rubbing against him. He woke up, and for a moment, I was scared. But his smile told me it was okay. We moved together, his hands exploring my body, until he entered me. It was wrong, but my body and heart wanted it. We moved together, lost in pleasure, until we both found release. The next morning, I woke up to Ethan's naked body beside me. He smiled, his arousal evident. We came together again, this time with passion and words of love. It was wrong, but it felt right. And in that moment, I embraced the new chapter of my life. And that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you found it interesting and informative. But this is just part of the story. There's more to come in the second part, so make sure you don't miss it. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you'll be the first to know when the next part is out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.